everybody to Go Local Live. It is a beautiful day. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder, and looking forward to a spectacular afternoon of spring New England weather. I want to jump over to our friends at Cox Communications. Rosie Fernandez joins us. She's the longtime community relations person. Rosie, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Rosie, this is not your first rodeo. How long have you been with Cox?
So this year's my 19th year with Cox. I started as a contractor in 2003, and today I oversee the community relations programs for the company.
So you're connecting with people in the community all the time, and I think one of the things that got lost in the pandemic was how a lot of companies kind of took the step forward to help folks in the community, and I know Cox was one of many who made extra efforts, and Cox really helped connect kids with their online learning by providing some services that they wouldn't ordinarily have. Talk about sort of the strategy behind it and what you guys felt was the benefit and how you measured it.
Hey, so thank you. That's a great question. So since 2003, right? Since 2003, we understood the impact that, the importance, right, of internet. And so we worked a lot behind the scenes to make sure that we had programs available to families that they could take advantage of and make sure that they had access to internet. So then in 2013, John, we actually launched the Connect to Compete program. And we've offered it, through partners, through the schools, so that way they can make families aware of this program that was available to students and their families. And so when 2020 came, we recognized that many students still didn't have access to internet in their home. And Connect to Compete was the best way to make sure that these families gained access as soon as possible to make sure that no child was left behind, right? We wanted to make sure that kids had access. So quickly, our leaders made sure that we opened up Connect to Compete to everyone. We made it available at no cost to families who qualified for the program because we wanted to make sure that every child had an opportunity to learn and be connected at home during a national pandemic, a worldwide pandemic.
Yeah. More than just a Rhode Island pandemic. Rosie, talk about what was from a corporate culture standpoint, how did that, it was a big step up, right? People had been donating, Microsoft and others had been donating laptops to the community. So for the first time, a lot of these kids had a device of their own, other than maybe a phone or maybe not. So this was a big step up. What did you guys learn about how big the need was in Rhode Island?
So thanks to, our community partners like the school department, the Rhode Island Department of Education, we knew that, students needed a connection, right? It was not new to us. 2020 was not new. The need was not new in 2020. We knew all along that there was a need for connection, right? Like I mentioned, since 2013, we offered the Connect to Compete program. But then we were hit with 2020. It was what we learned basically, John, to be honest with you, was that still families didn't have access in their home, right? And kids were taking advantage of, getting access through their local library, right? Maybe they were visiting the Boys and Girls Clubs in the afternoon to gain access. They were finding ways to gain access, but they needed it in the home. And that's what we found, that there was still that disconnect where children didn't have the access that they needed in the home.
Rosie, yeah, especially during the pandemic when those libraries and Boys and Girls Clubs and YMCAs were all closing down as well under the different mandates. Talk about how Cox now is interacting with the community and this issue of how important, listen, as we say here, grandma's now Zoom, right? Everybody is connected now. The world's not going back to a pre-pandemic time. And you see how companies are transforming their workforce, who's in the office, who doesn't need to be in the office, who's on split work schedules. How are you seeing that from a equity standpoint and what you're trying to do throughout Rhode Island to make sure that sort of everybody gets a fair chance at this thing. But you're a company too, right? I mean, you've got to charge a fee. Walk us through that.
So, we recognize that right now, Rhode Island is, a super oh, I can't even speak, I apologize, digitally connected state. So we have the infrastructure here for everyone to have access, right? John, I know that right now we are offering programs to make sure that, like you mentioned, the grandmas, that they do have a Wi-Fi connection at home at a cost that, is suitable to them, as well as the Connect to Compete program, right? And we're seeing more and more that people just really need the bandwidth. And we've basically addressed those needs by increasing speeds, by making sure that there's more touch points. We're improving our network every day to make sure that people have fast speeds at home and also in the office or wherever they may be, because now there is a lot of travel. So we're working closely with our community partners, like I mentioned, the Boys and Girls Clubs. We've been able to install Cox Innovation Centers to make sure that, students, when they go into the Boys and Girls Clubs in Rhode Island, that they are able to tap into technology, new technology. We're also working closely with some recipients throughout Rhode Island, recent Tech Boost recipients, where we've provided $10,000 grants, right, to make sure that they have the technology that they need to support their staff and the work that they're doing. So as a company, we're continuing to, just shine a light right on the needs and making sure that we're addressing those needs through various programs that we currently offer in our community.
And Rosie, just one clarification. My name's Josh, not John,
I'm
but
sorry,
don't worry.
Josh.
No, Rosie, don't worry about a second. I'll take John because the number of phone calls I got this morning about an editorial we wrote on the Superman building, those people who called me up didn't call me Josh or John. They had other names for me. So it's all good. Don't worry about it for a second. Rosie, let me ask you this. We look at this issue, obviously, we're an all-digital company. Connectivity is incredibly important for us. We've seen the change of behavior of who reads us as our audience has grown. But isn't really the future of, opportunity is connectivity? It's got to be a level playing field. There's a lot of interesting things about the advantage that a lot of middle-class people have. Listen, they have offices in their home. They don't have to go into the office. They work in a white-collar job. They can get on Zoom and do global conference calls versus the more working-class individual in Rhode Island who works in a factory or works in the back end of a restaurant. That opportunity to be connected is critical. And I know that Cox had a major announcement on a mammoth amount of financial investment into the state. Talk about how those two things connect, that financial investment by the company and connectivity and equity for Rhode Islanders.
So Cox is, extremely committed to creating programs and opportunities for everyone to be connected. It doesn't matter where you are, right, in life. You need a connection because you're either using Facebook to connect with families overseas, you're utilizing connectivity to increase your education, right, to make sure that you're pursuing a post-secondary degree or just attaining a certificate just to improve life. So Cox, we've been committed to digital equity, like I mentioned, since 2013. The organization has several programs. We have Connect to Compete that supports families who have a child in K through 12. We also have the Connect Assist program, and that is a program that allows individuals that do not have children in K through 12 to access a high-speed internet, but at a lower cost. But then we also have been fortunate to work for our customers, right? And so we're trying to make sure that all customers have access to broadband. So another thing that we've been trying to push and encourage our customers to take advantage of is the Affordable Connectivity Program. And that is basically a government stipend, and they are providing a $30 waiver, basically a $30 credit to customers, bills. And that way, everyone is able to afford internet at home, and make sure that they have the connectivity that they need in order to move forward in life.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely critical. I mean, I want to tell you, I get a little blip every day on my laptop of how many hours I was connected the previous day. It is a horrifying number of hours in which I was. I don't even want to discuss it publicly. It's so embarrassingly high.
Joshua, well, your GoLocal, prob.com is doing big things, right? You're interviewing people every day. You're probably, on it every day, updating information and things like that. So you need the connection. And that's what we're seeing is that, obviously throughout the past 2 years, people have been connected even more. So we want to make sure that we're leveling the playing fields, to access for everyone. And so that's why we brought up all of these different programs to make sure that every family has access in some way in their home, whether they're on the road, no matter what you're doing, you want to be able to access, the internet without any issues. And that's what we're committed to, making sure that all families, all individuals, regardless of background, regardless of, where they come from or where they are, right, that they have, equitable access to internet.
What's this going to all look like? I ask this as a last question to you. In the next, year or two, how is this going to continue to transition? What will it look like in Rhode Island from your standpoint as to how connectivity will work? I mean, think about it. Most people never heard of Zoom 2 years ago. Literally had never heard the word. What are we going to look like in a Jetsons kind of world, a year or two from now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we'll continue to build a network and do what we need to do on our end. What I see is, more people using FaceTime, right? You have a smartphone in your hands, and that's what people are using, Facebook, right? So it'll just be more and more, social apps to make sure that you're, keeping connected with family and friends, regardless of where you are, right? And so we'll have a stronger network. Like you mentioned, we did make a big announcement in Newport, about our commitment to our infrastructure here in Rhode Island, and not only in Rhode Island, throughout the country. And that's more that you'll see from Cox. That's more that you'll see from obviously other providers. But we're going to continue to do the work that we need to do here to be connected, to make sure that, all students have access, all families have access, and that, we continue to build a strong network for our community.
Rosie, listen, thank you so much. Head of Community Relations at Cox, Rosie Fernandez. I appreciate you taking the time and not calling me the other names that the other people called me earlier today. I really appreciate it. For everybody else, stay tuned. We're going to have Mott and Chase on at 11. We're going to get a peek into what the real estate market looks like, especially down on Watch Hill. These are the $10 and $20 million homes. What's going on down there? Does it matter if interest rates go up, or is this still, we still seeing a flood of out-of-state buyers looking to acquire most everything in Rhode Island, it seems like, on the water? Everybody stay safe. If you haven't gotten boosted, run, don't walk. Call CVS, call your doctor, schedule an appointment to get boosted. I'll tell you what, it makes me feel 100% different going into a restaurant, enjoying a meal, knowing that I've got that extra layer of protection to carry me through the rest of this pandemic. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe and enjoy this amazing weather today.
Thank you, Josh.